Today I'm going to start with a tough question. What is self-betrayal costing you? I don't just mean emotionally, although we will get to that. I'm talking about the actual business cost, the leadership cost, the cost to your team. But you can apply all of this to the cost to your family, your relationships, your results in your life. Because here's what I have discovered after years of working with visionary leaders, spiritual overachievers, and ambitious souls, not to mention myself. And I cannot emphasize this enough. Self-betrayal is not a personal problem. It's much more than that. It's a performance problem. It's also a family problem, a parenting problem, and a relationship problem. But honestly, most people have no idea how much it's costing their business. So let me break this down. When you betray yourself, for example, when you say yes when you mean no, when you make decisions based on what you think you should do rather than what feels right, when you abandon your inner knowing for external validation, you are not just hurting yourself. You're creating what I call a leadership tax. And this is how that works. Here's what that tax looks like. First, there's the decision-making tax. When you're disconnected, you're making decisions from fear instead of wisdom. You second guess yourself constantly. You need multiple opinions before you can move forward. And you change directions based on who's in the room. Do I have your attention? Smash that like button if this is resonating. Second, the energy tax. Most of us are familiar with this, and I cannot tell you of late how much energy I personally have been draining. Self-betrayal is exhausting. When you're constantly performing, constantly managing other people's emotions, constantly trying to be who you think you should be instead of who you are, you will run on empty. And when leaders run on empty, everything suffers. Your creativity tanks, your problem-solving ability diminish, you become reactive instead of responsive. I can relate to that one. And you start making decisions from survival mode instead of strategic thinking. Third, there's a culture tax. And you can think about this one if you want to think about it with your family as well. Here's what nobody talks about. The people around you, your team, they can feel it when you're not authentic, when you are not plugged into you, when you're separate. They can sense when you're performing instead of leading. And it creates an environment where everybody starts to feel like they need to perform too. When leaders betray themselves, they unconsciously give permission for everyone else to do the same. And you could end up with a culture of people pleasing, where nobody's telling the truth, where real problems don't get addressed because everyone's too busy managing appearances. This is a lot. I know I'm giving you a lot. I'm asking you to be really, really honest with yourselves. Fourth, there's an innovation tax, and I know many of you know this. Innovation requires a connection to self. It requires the courage to say what other people won't, to see what other people don't see, and to trust your instincts even when they go against conventional wisdom. Trusting our instincts is something that we learn not to do from such a young age that we don't even know anymore when we're doing it. When you're betraying yourself, you're cutting yourself off from the most innovative part of you. You're playing it safe. You're following a playbook instead of writing a new one. We become sheep. And finally, there's a legacy tax. This is the big one. When you betray yourself consistently, you are building something that is not reflective of who you truly are. You're building something that reflects who you think you should be or what you want other people to see. And that thing that other people are looking at that you think they want you to see, they don't want to see that. They want to see you. They want to feel your authenticity. And here's the thing about building something that way. It is not sustainable. Eventually, something falls apart, and eventually you hit a wall where you just can't do it anymore. And I know this because I lived it. I mean, I went into being a psychotherapist because it was natural for me, but it wasn't necessarily my calling. I don't know, maybe it was. But the point is, I had a practice. I had a successful practice. I was teaching at the graduate level, and I really looked like I had it all together. But I was making my decisions based on what I thought would look good. Maybe it was the prestige of being a psychotherapist. I don't know. I didn't make my decisions based on what felt right. My life would have looked completely different at that point in time if I was truly following what felt right, not only in my business, but in my relationships and my family and everything. And so eventually it led me to a night in jail, of course, right? Because I was already in prison, in this prison I had myself in, of thinking I had to make decisions for what it looked like instead of what was truly right for me, what I thought was success or whatnot. I was already in prison. And so, of course, your outer world is going to reflect your inner world. and my inner world was a prison. And so that's where I ended up in jail. When you abandoned your inner knowing consistently enough, you make choices that aren't yours. You make choices that are incongruent, they're misaligned, and you wind up going down the wrong path. Now, I don't want to say the wrong path because I do feel like everything that we do is the exact right path in that we need to learn a lesson from it. But some of us have to have a frying pan hit us over the head to get the lesson. And that was me. So here are 5 ways for you to calculate the cost of self-betrayal in your own life. 1, start by looking at your decision-making process. How much time do you spend second-guessing yourself? How often do you change direction based on what someone else thinks? And here's a good one. How many opportunities have you missed because you couldn't trust your instincts? You couldn't trust that inner knowing. 2, look at your energy levels. Are you consistently exhausted? Maybe even if you're getting enough sleep. Do you feel drained after meetings that should be energizing you? Are you running on caffeine and willpower instead of authentic enthusiasm? I just was talking to a client yesterday who was reminding me of when I had told her once, you don't have to white knuckle your way through life. It's a very energy draining thing to do. Okay, where was I? That's 2. Okay, 3, look at your team dynamics. Do people tell the truth? Or are they busy taking care of each other? Do they tell you what they think you want to hear? Are they talking directly to the people that they need to about whatever's going on? Or are they talking gossiping? Are you getting the best thinking from your team? Or are they playing it safe? Do you have real conversations? Or are they performative talks or complaining fests? 4, look at your innovation pipeline. And you can look at this even if you don't have a team or whatever, just look at it in your own life, in your own ability to create. When was the last time you had a truly original idea? This is a big one because with AI now, oh my gosh, it is so easy to just have some other thing think for you. But when was the last time you had a truly original idea? When did you take a risk that felt scary but right? Are you leading your industry or are you following it? By the way, if you can't really remember when you had the last original thought, getting into a meditative space and building that into your practice is going to be one of the quickest ways to be able to do that. And then finally, look at what you're building. If you look back and you look at your team and you look at your business and you look at your results, is what you are creating feeling authentically you? Does it feel like you? Or does it feel like what you thought success is supposed to look like? And one way to determine that is to, as you think about it, really plug into your energy centers and see if there's a tweak in your belly or in your sternum when you look at something, so that you're getting an honest answer. Your body isn't going to lie to you. Your body will tell you the truth if you ask that question. But here's the beautiful thing. When you stop betraying yourself and you start leading from the part of you that knows, that connected part of yourself, this is what I call your soul signal. It's the part that doesn't think. It just knows. When you lead from that place, all of these taxes disappear. It's not necessarily easy, right? Because other people might not like it. You might lose a client. Things don't necessarily go smoothly, but there's something in you that just knows those other taxes go away. And when you practice that, your decisions begin to become very clear. And there's a confidence that comes when we follow our inner knowing. And your energy increases because you're not leaking all of the energy with the should I, could I, did I, shouldn't I, what do you think? Oh my God, I did this bad, I did this poorly. You're not draining yourself. In your culture becomes more authentic because you're more authentic. Think about this even within the context of your family at home. Think about the presence that you bring and the ripple effect of that presence and the ripple effect of when you don't to your relationships of any kind. When you're functioning from that place of your soul signal, your innovation explodes because you're accessing the full capacity of your creativity. I've had times where it's like, oh my God, I have so much creativity, I don't even know what to do with it. I'm just literally popping off. And that's because I've been following the inner knowing. I've been following the soul signal. When I stop doing that, I literally am like, I got nothing. And listen, this isn't something that we can do all the time. There's a lot of conditioning underneath over all of this stuff. This is a moment by moment thing. I'm not by any means suggesting that, oh, this is just how I am now, I'm always like that. No, not by any stretch of the imagination. But there's a goal. There's a felt experience of what that is like. There's a felt experience of what it's like when I'm self-betraying. So I've got something to work with. And this is when you start building something that's sustainable because it is rooted in who you are. But for now, I want you to do this calculation for yourself. What is self-betrayal actually costing you? Not just emotionally, but practically. Because a lot of times we can write off our emotions, like, oh yeah, I'm exhausted and it's awful and whatever, but it's okay, I can handle it. No. Think about it practically, because when you come at your brain with what it's costing practically, sometimes then it's like, well, geez, no, I got to do something different. Like this is not working. It's not just that I'm throwing myself under the bus all the time. It's that this is actually not productive in any part of my life. So what decisions are you not making? What energy are you not accessing? I think about this. I don't even know where I would be in my life today if I hadn't spent so much time draining my own energy. And what culture are you not creating? This is what I'm trying to say. You can't afford to keep betraying yourself. None of us can. This world can't afford for us to keep betraying ourselves. The cost is simply too high on every level you can imagine. So again, if this resonated, tell me in the comments. I'd love to hear. I read every single comment. I'd love to know, what is one area that you've been self-betraying in and what's it costing you? And that's it for the Muse. See you next time.